Alright. So if I do the shield guy, they gotta start this shit off right. They gotta start from the beginning. So so in the concept of shielding, right? You've got, let's turn this off. You got standing shield, crouching shield, aerial shield. Each shields its respective angles and mids. So standing and crouching shields both cover mids. Crouching covers lows, standing covers overhead, and air covers air and grounded normals, since you can't block grounded normals in this game anyway. Leads for nice little you get a little something depending on your character, which follow-up you pick. Also, it's worth noting, Moon drains like 10% blood. Not blood, 10%. Right? So you should be able to get to do it 10 times. Before it's gone. And at that point, your shield recovery is the longest. Your shield recovery is the shortest with max meter though. At about halfway through that meter, I think it's like 12 frames recovery. So it goes 10, 12, 14, I believe. 10 for full meter, 12 for half meter, 14 for no meter. So whenever you shield the button, you got follow-ups. So this works with stand and crouch and air. You get the same, more or less the same follow-ups. So I'll go over those. So stand 5A, or grounded 5A after shield, and grounded 5C after shield. Launch. So it launches your opponent up. Basically does what your 3C does. Now the B version of the grounded shield is a teleport. You don't really get a punish unless you get a counter hit. So if it counter hits, then you can confirm it. Now your next follow-up is going to be BC. BC is a dash through. It's invincible and everything in between that goes. And it looks like it takes more moon gauge from you. So even if you shield successfully, you will lose moon by doing this. I think you can do this about 5 times. You do BC follow-up, but yeah, you can do things like that. And these are the same follow-ups on standing shield and grounded shield. Standing and crouching. So your grounded shield options are going to be the same. Now, let's go over your air shield options. There we go. Alright. So for air shield, the options are a bit different. So your A and your C follow-up are always going to cause a fatal counter, and they stay on the same side. So you can get whatever your most optimal fatal combo that would be. At this point, I'm not super sure which one Noel's is, but you get to do things like that. Now your second follow-up is going to be your B follow-up. So it teleports behind your opponent, and they're on the ground. I believe this is an overhead? Could be wrong. I believe this could be an overhead. Okay, so it looks like it is an overhead. I will be correct when I say this is an overhead. But it just teleports behind your opponent. Pretty much does the same thing that the B version does on the ground. You don't really get a whole combo unless counter hit. But out of the air, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of things that you get counter hit B punish on. Once the game fleshes out, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about that. Now for your last airfall. Air BC. Also causes fatal counter. Not always fatal counter, but for the most part you get a fatal on any aerial motions. The only exception to this rule would be an aerial projectile. I'll switch to CL really quick just to use her as an example. So in the case of an aerial projectile, you just get a regular punish. And then I'll use her. Okay, well maybe you do get a fatal if you're closer. But let's just neutral drop into it, right? Yeah, trying to. Okay, so it looks like you get the fatal off the first one. But if you get anything later, it just punishes. So yeah, that's good to know. Just for like the sake of helping out. And that's gonna be, you can't really like BC punish that. You got the delay. Which is fine, but that's okay. I'll go back to Shiki. Okay, so yeah, so you'll get a fatal counter, and so you just go for your optimal fatal punish on that. Now there is the whole like shield RPS thing that everybody's talking about, and I will turn on shield, and I'll basically explain what that is, right? So out of shield, you have these three options, the same in the air, but each option punishes other options differently. So right now I have Shiki set up to do a follow-up. Or 5A or 5C follow-up on shield. It punishes this shield. It can, like, this is going to be your punish option for your opponents to, like, A shield all the time. And everyone's like A and C shield for the most part. It's just the 3C animation, so that, I hope that'll help out a little bit. But you know, that's gonna be a punish for the A shield. This, while it does say punish, it can be shielded back. Like it can be shielded back immediately. Hold on, I'll have him do it first. Okay, you gotta shield back, dork. Alright. I guess it'll be easier if I get that. So turn that off. So now let's say in the case of where, like you can kind of sort of delay your shield activation on this. You don't have to do it immediately. But like in the situation where it forces RPS, your opponent can also shield back after almost immediately. Now when you do a B-shield follow-up, if they shield too early, it results in a counter hit. So I'll do B-shield. Or a punish, right? So you can get a fatal counter if they're still holding shield. If they just tap it, it's a punish. But it will punish anyone who's like looking to immediately shield after they do their A follow-ups. That being said, going on to the B follow-up. If you're in a situation where you see it, you delay your shield, and you can shield back. Now, as for what beats this one, it's the same situation with the A shield. You can kind of like B shield won't beat B shield, basically, right? It's kind of weird, but that's just how it goes. But A shield doesn't beat B shield either, as it doesn't punish. However, you got BC. That's gonna be your shield punish for yeah, no punish on A follow-up. So BC follow-up is what you use to get a punish, which is the fastest. That's your fastest punish typically. Yeah. So BC being the fastest is gonna punish that for sure. No, like A won't really punish it, but BC punishes the B shield. Now for BC, you can only punish that with BC if you shield, right? By the time you get here, your opponent can block there and recover. So you don't really get to, like, for this you have to shield back immediately though. You can't delay your shield too long because you get kind of hit. So it's like, that's a hard one to kind of just call. Wait, what the? Oh. That's new. I didn't notice that earlier. I'll go over that too, it looks like. So, your BC punish would be a good one. B punish will whiff. A punish will catch them if you mash it out. Like, you gotta do it like ASAP. More or less, right? If you delay your B punish, it'll hit, but your opponent can shield. They can shield that. Actually, no, they can't. Not if you delay it too. If you delay it too long, then they can shield it. So that's just how. That's like shield follow-ups while on the ground. Now, let's go over the ones in the air, because we're making air shield as well. It only makes sense that there's shield follow-ups after air shield. So A, you can kind of shield back immediately. You can get a B punish. You can get a fatal counter if you do the A version, like the A and C launchers. But so you get a fatal counter follow-up, and BC punishes it as well. So those are gonna be your punishes for the A version. Now B version, well, your RPS situation is B version. I mean A version. B version is kind of fun. You can punish it with BC, but one, you're super high up, so you might not get the exact combo that you want. But as I said, it does punish your opponent. And then there's also the A. The A follow-up punishes, but you don't get put into a fatal counter state on the B teleport. on the teleport follow-up. After shield. Now shield BC, that's when things get funny. If you do it immediately, your opponent doesn't get to shield your follow-ups, but no fatal counters. At all. Not a single fatal counter. So your punishes are gonna be kinda, if you can get in the Blood Moon, yeah, if you can activate Blood Moon. Moondrive? Sorry. I called it Blood Moon. I don't know why. But you can get a Moondrive punish. But you won't get a fatal counter punish, so you'll have to spend a bit of a resource if you wanted to get a decent punish on there. And like I said, that depends on whatever route your character has. Now, for this next one, which is my personal favorite, it's kind of like baiting shield, right? So while you're on the ground, you shield back and you wait. In this situation, your opponent loses shield gauge. You keep yours as long as you perfect shield correctly, and if you catch them trying to shield back, punish. The fatal happened because the shield came up again, and sometimes you'll get a fatal. Depends on how much meter you got, though. Sorry, yeah, depending on how much meter you got, you get a fatal. Like you can get a fatal in comparison to your opponent. If you're in like the 100 to 75% range, you'll recover faster, so I think you might be able to get a fatal counter on those. Could be wrong. But Empty shield right now is very strong. Like an empty shield. You know? Empty shield leaves you with a bunch of options. Now, I haven't really worked out those situations in the air like too much. Like, the aerial situations are kind of weird, because it's like, I don't know. You know? You wait for them to land. So, that being said, like, the way aerial shield works is it's pretty much active. Like, it's not active the whole time you're in air, but whenever you hit the ground, it disappears. That's why I was like, I hadn't really labbed it a whole lot, so I hadn't really seen it too much either. But air shield in itself is kind of tricky. You know, picking and choosing the right spots to picking and choosing the right option to and the shield RPS is good. But you can always, sorry, let me rephrase that. Knowing your shield options is always great, but you can always choose to not play the RPS game, especially if you know that your opponent likes to shield a ton after you like counter shield any of their options. You're just like, okay, I don't have to play the RPS with you. That, or if you're okay with spinning the moon meter, you know. Instead of doing like follow-up, like a normal follow-up, just go into the BC to punish whatever option they're doing. because they're not mashing shield out of this. It's not happening. And VC is a whole bunch, like it's a whole counter hit on A shield. Right. But then again, up to you how much moon meter you have. Now, that being said, yeah, so I don't actually remember going over this in the tutorial, but that costs half your moon meter. I see. Hold on, don't shield. Just don't shield. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so it looks like now if you're in a situation where your opponent's shielded and you don't want to use shield, you just choose to, you can just opt to run through your opponent's option. I mean, I guess like, it's like cool aesthetically, but I can't think of a practical use of just like spending half of your moon gauge just to, well, now if you're getting out of a situation, it's different. Like here, if they go for B follow-up and you do this immediately, you're now out of the situation and you're back to playing air footies and neutral. So yeah, it could be worse. It's not that bad, but could be worse. Knowing how to deal with like shield. Oh, another thing I think on projectiles you can see the B follow, maybe depending on your character. Good. Oh, you can't do that. Alright. That gets omitted. That's useless information, so that gets omitted. But yeah, so I think I pretty much covered, or gave like a basic understanding of each shield, the follow-ups, and how they work, and the different things you can do after. Every character's got a different optimal combo out of shield, and I'm not too sure what it is, so I wouldn't be able to tell you because I barely know else optimal stuff at the moment. But this game fleshes out more. I hope people start to use shield in a different manner instead of just, oh no, I'm about to like get hit, let me shield, you know? Or like, they'll probably start taking better care of their moon meter as well, but this is just an early guide just to kind of give you the basics, go over shield. Other than that, I think I'm done with this, and I'll play like 3 matches on PC.